Hi, my name is Jeff Davis. I'm with AOL, and I'm the Technical Director for Data Center Operations. It was a multifaceted approach that we had. We've actually participated in the Uptime Server Roundup contest since its initiation back in 2011. The interesting part for us is that we've actually had several different reasons along the way to actually participate. The first year was we were focusing primarily on our legacy debt applications. AOL's been around a long time, over 2 decades, and we had some old applications that weren't being used, and so we had some development put into those and upgraded them, and other ones we decided we were just going to shut down. So that was our first year, and we actually won that award back in 2011. In 2012, we did some more of that. We went a little deeper into our legacy apps, but we started looking at server utilization as well. Again, from old programs that were kind of a bit waning out, AOL's been through a big transition in the last 5-6 years. And so we added those two together, and we actually won the award again in 2012. In 2013, we actually didn't submit because in 2014 we were so busy doing the next set of roundups. So we kind of messed up there. But in 2014, where we won the award for the third time, our big initiative there was, again, going through those first 2 steps. We added the next one in, but we actually consolidated 2 old data centers, legacy data centers. One of which was a 6 megawatt data center, owned and operated, and another one was a 1.4 megawatt data center that we migrated out of those 2 data centers into 2 brand new data centers, state-of-the-art efficient data centers, and we got rid of all those old applications and things like that. What made that successful was, or the difficult part of that was going through and having to review and analyze all those servers. So it was a big combination of facility type efforts. Facilities they weren't pushing us out. It was all in-house. But it was a continual effort, and we just, like I said, we just layered on different reasons year after year. In 2012, it did become a space issue, but in 2011, it truly was just trying to. Again, this is when AOL spun off from Time Warner, and we were actually trying to streamline our efforts and our costs into just right-sizing our applications. So that's kind of where it was born. The legacy debt that we've had have been around for a long time, and so we had to just marry that up with timing and the effort. It made a lot of sense in management. On the data center side, we're susceptible to whatever our customers want to put in the data center. So it actually it did initiate from the IT side. We feel like the amount of servers and that we're decommissioning and getting rid of the old waste, whether it's, again, legacy applications, underutilized servers, migrating to more efficient servers, we feel like we might be ahead of the industry in that sense. We're certain that, and you can see that the results, the amount of servers that the competition in this contest, right, have been submitting each year and year. It's getting harder to win, but I don't see us winning forever, right? At some point, we're going to maximize our efforts, and that's when I think other companies that are following the same path now, they'll find the same results if they put forth that effort. But it's a big effort, obviously. So our efforts came from a combination of again, migrating out of 2 old data centers. We went through we still have a owned and operated site that we still manage, and we're redesigning the raised floor on that one. So if you can imagine defragging a computer room, it's an 8 megawatt building capacity. And so to take all these, the servers that are actually reside in the site and defrag those computer rooms into a more efficient design, again, we had to analyze. So we had to analyze all the servers in the data centers we were migrating out of, and then we had to analyze all the servers in our other site that we were still owned and operated. So that combined effort, which was again very significant, caused us to move forward with the effort that we did. So. There was a lot of challenges. Again, we had to go through that. We had to get board of directors approval because it was a big project. We actually had to build out 2 new computer room data centers, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. We had to have, our management was obviously with the board of directors on board, our management was on board. We had to have all our customers, our SA community on board. We had to have great communications. We had to have a PM that managed the project, really had to know what that person was doing. We had daily meetings, we had a daily schedule. We still had some issues, but our management, my management knew that was coming, and we actually came in under the bar on the issues. So it was very successful in our efforts to actually minimize the impact to our customers. They had to be very cooperative. It was the scheduling and then the ability for us to stay away from overlapping applications. A lot of applications tie into each other. So it was that organization which was the tough part. So. Yeah, absolutely. You have to have that grassroots from inside the data center. You got to have that teamwork with your facilities team, and we're blessed to have a great relationship with our facilities team. And then you have to have everybody's management at both of those levels, and then executive management at the next level. So everybody had to be on board for the effort that we had to go through last year. We ended up reducing our critical load by about 20%. We had an annual cost savings now of about $4.3 million from that reduced energy. We reduced our carbon footprint by about 36,000 tons. And we actually we made profits from the servers, the decommissioned servers that we resold, because they're not trash, they're just old, right? So we made $6 million in profits from those servers, and another cost savings of about $1.1 million thrown in as that combination. So it was well over $5 million in savings.
And I guess the question would be, were those eventual savings, were those in line with your original expectations?
We exceeded our expectations in there.
Okay,
and a big part of that was because we had certain expectations. What we knew, hard facts, were going to be as far as decommissioning was concerned. But what happens is, in an organization as large as ours, is that when our customers focus and they actually analyze the servers that they had, they did some due diligence, and they actually decommissioned a lot more servers than they had anticipated. So that's where those gains that we didn't anticipate, because we don't know the insight into their applications. So they actually went above and beyond what our expectations were. It's actually been growing over the years. We are try to be as much as we can a green company. And IT efficiency is a big part of that. We've been able to actually make strides in this area, primarily based on the ability for us to upgrade from older servers. We still have a legacy debt issue, but having the funding, right, that we're able to put in the development time into brand new servers. We're actually able to, again, a bigger focus on decommissioning old legacy applications and shutting those down. But again, that's all part of that team effort that the company fosters, and that doesn't come from my level or the facilities level. It actually comes from our upper level management and our executives. it's a challenge because as a company like AOL, we're constantly changing applications and tools and products and things. So, as some products die out, you're bringing on other ones. And I think the challenge is to be able to continually focus, right, and put some time and effort into assets that, applications that, might not be worthy of the energy that they're drawing. But on the other side of that, you've got to properly utilize and the servers that you are bringing in-house. You can't, and back years and years, right, the anticipation or the projections were off, so there would be way over as far as projections are concerned. A big part of that if you go back, 15, 20 years also, is that our data centers were very robust, and AOL made our applications very robust. So we had this duplication in capacity on both sides. Well, you didn't really need it on both sides. And some of the other companies, the larger companies in today's environment, they don't actually do that, right? There's a balance, and that's where AOL has made that transition. Our data centers are still very robust. And the application, if you do it right, if you have the disaster recovery in place, you don't need as many servers, you don't need the capacity, the ability to use the cloud services. That's a big part of it as well. So it's that whole combination of moving forward, doing the right things right in the beginning, but still focusing on getting rid of old, outdated servers. We've decommissioned 3,000 servers year to date this year again. So we're not going to get near what we did last year, but we're still focusing, we're still pushing on that. There are. I mean, again, just being able to, back in 2011, we actually had to build out another data center because our major data centers, our owned and operator sites, were at 90% capacity. And so we actually had to build out another site. And now we've actually been able to move out of one of those 6 megawatt data centers. And yes, we did have to build another 1 megawatt data center, but you can see the difference between those two costs. They're significant. So having all those programs in place, the benefits of having all those reduced costs will keep us from building out additional data centers that we don't need, and they're just easier to manage. There's less break fix. There's less hardware involved. There's less energy required. So it's a much, and again, on that scale, it's much easier to manage, as you can imagine.